started. So we'll be recording this. We're going to toss it on YouTube at the end of the week and send it out to anyone that may have missed it. And if your call drops or you can't finish it, we can send that recording out as well. If you don't want to be on camera, now's the time to turn yourself off camera, but feel free to be on or off camera. Ready?
I'm ready.
Ready.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. The topic is turning detours into opportunities, working on the road ahead. So just some housekeeping items. Awesome. Stay on mute unless you're speaking. Raise your hand if you would like to speak. We will have a Q&A at the end for questions if you'd like to wait. Please utilize the chat. We will be monitoring it throughout the presentation. And then, of course, have fun. Enjoy yourself.
Please have fun. And these are intended to be fun and informative. And I'll spoiler alert, this one is a little bit longer. I think there's more slides on this one than typically, so we're going to do our part to stay on and to get through it all and be good stewards of your time. But we would ask if you have feedback or comments or questions, please do save it to the end if you can, just so we can be stewards of everyone's time. And we're going to start with an icebreaker. Icebreakers are my thing. I love icebreakers. If there's so many things in this world in 2025 that create division and drive us apart, one of the things the experts say that bring us all together is sports. This is a fascinating time of year. It's the very end of September. October starts tomorrow, and we're still in baseball season. If you're a baseball person, we have started football, both collegiate and NFL. NBA basketball is about to start in just a couple weeks. And then, of course, many other minor sports throughout the world that all take place. But yeah, this is like the overlap time of year. So we want to know, in being a good teammate with us, what teams do you root for? And this can be anything. This can be related to a high school, to a college, to a sport. I'm an Eagles guy. Go Birds. We're having a good season so far. Knock, knock, knock. But toss it in the chat. Would love to hear, because I know everybody has one. Everybody has someone they root for. What team do you root for? Yes, Darlene, college and NFL this time of year. It's very exciting. The
Steelers,
Gamecocks.
we have Eagles.
Rosalind, go Eagles, go Birds. So far, so good. The Bears. Ooh, classic. Love it. Love it. Packers by marriage. Nothing wrong with that.
Saints by birth.
Bill Brown doesn't follow any sport. That's fair. We're glad you're here. UGA, go Dogs. College, NFL, NBA, go golf.
We have a roll tide.
I know. See, this is great. You always try to find something that everybody has something to say on. So this is great. I just watched the parts where Taylor Swift shows up. You know, Melissa, I'm glad you brought that up. My mother, her name is Wanda. She has a big birthday coming up this Friday. And we were all so excited to find out that Ms. Swift is releasing a new album just in honor of my mother's birthday.
Isn't it something?
Friday, October 3rd. Yeah. It's all about my mom. So it's we're all really excited. My daughter's probably going to buy herself a copy on my mother's birthday. Just to celebrate that. Yankees and the KC Chiefs. Hey, I don't know if the Yankees are still in it. Christy, I'm a Mets guy. We're done. We just finished. We didn't make the postseason. So fascinating. Well, hey everybody, feel free to continue putting those in. Thanks for sharing. I think that's always fun. To hear about people's sports and schools and alma maters and all that. So go NASCAR. Heck yeah. I have a friend named Johnny from Eastern Carolina who's really big into NASCAR. And you wouldn't think it when you were talking to him, but he follows that sport and gets a lot out of it. So this again, Red Cross Caring Communication. If it's your first time, the idea here is that this is a national initiative that we do through multiple lines of service. So this is mostly biomed volunteers today, But but the staff, the collection staff, the transportation staff, everybody we work with, all of our partners get some version of this throughout the year. We like to make caring visible by incorporating skills, initiatives, and behaviors, serving internal and external customers at all levels in every interaction, creating a caring culture every day. So we are going to be talking today and throughout all these about, kind of practical everyday things that happen at drives, both good things and bad things, things that you can, stop before they become a problem, things that you can anticipate, when you're planning for these events. And I think, is this slide 5? I think this is you.
And many donors begin preparing for donations day in advance. For a successful donation, donors must eat a balanced diet, be rested, be knowledgeable of medications they have taken, both over the counter and prescription, know the dates and location of travel, be 17 years of age or 16 with parental consent, and drink extra water to improve hydration, and finally be knowledgeable about the required weight for their donations starting at 110 pounds.
All good to know.
All good to know. All right. So from Rapid Pass registration, physical exams donors arrive expecting to be successful and give the gift of life. Sometimes donors are thrown off course anytime they experience a detour throwing them off track. Although there are many reasons for deferral, we'll focus on what you can do as a blood donor ambassador to help navigate long wait times, vitals that may be low or high during a physical exam, and phlebotomy issues. All right. Here's another, okay, it can be extremely disappointing to not be able to do something you had your heart on. That feeling that you failed. It is very common that donors think and feel like something is wrong when they hear the word no. So, does anybody want to provide us with an example of how they interacted with somebody who was upset from a deferral? What did you do or say? You can raise your hand or you can throw it in the chat, whatever feels right.
And I had one last night, in fact. So I was at a drive at a fire station, a very well attended, very successful drive at a fire station. Was telling her about it, and it was pouring down rain, but people came out anyway. But we had a young lady there, the spouse of one of the firemen who was a regular donor, and she got deferred for the first time ever. She told me, and she was very upset about it. I mean, not upset at us specifically, but she was very upset and felt that she had let us down. I assured her she shouldn't, but yeah, it was a low iron. We didn't have a lot of those, maybe just the one, but we'd had a deferral due to low iron, and she was you could tell that she took that really seriously, and she was very upset about it. Lori Copeland had her hand up. Lori, do you have a story to share?
Yeah, well, usually when I'm at a blood drive, if I'm doing the registration and they walk out and I see that they haven't given, I thank them and I offer them the incentive if we have it that day. And they usually try to say, no, I didn't give. I'm like, it's okay. You tried, and I don't, just don't ask any questions. Just thank them for trying. And usually they say, what it was, but I, definitely don't ask, but always offer them the incentive to try and make it up to them.
Yeah, and that's a good point. The language that the Red Cross uses for nearly, I mean, they also say while supplies last, but for all those incentives, if we are giving out shirts or or sunglasses or we have socks coming next month, I think. If we are giving those out, the language they use is for all presenting donors. So not necessarily have to be a successful donation, but those are available to all presenting donors. So if they signed in and went through the motions, I believe they are eligible for the donor incentive, while supplies last. So yeah, and I did offer that young lady one of our incentive items as well. I don't think she took it, but yeah, she was very kind of down on herself for that. But that's a good story, and that is a good way that sometimes the Snoopy shirt can go a long way.
So we have some stuff in the chat.
Yeah, please.
Becky says, I have actually been turned away back in the day with low iron, and the volunteer reassured me it was more for my safety and I shouldn't feel bad about it. They did thank me and told me to try again.
Well, hey, a shout out to that volunteer.
Yeah,
That's
right.
that's a really good response. Thank you, Becky.
Let's see. Deferral due to low hemoglobin, my problem every once in a while. This is Carol. So I share my Flintstones with iron vitamin suggestion, which works for me. I've had people come back and say that worked. I mean, vitamins, a little iron for sure, but the Flintstone one,
Yeah,
do you remember?
Flintstones. Oh, yeah.
I
Built
used
to
spit
last.
them
Yeah,
out.
built to last. You did?
I used to spit them out, yeah.
I love those vitamins. I
Let's
love those vitamins. Carol had her hand up. Carol, did you want to add to that?
Yes. It's a lot of people have trouble when they try and take supplemental iron. It is can be very troubling to the GI tract, and that's my issue. So Flintstone with iron, it's for children, so it's a lower dose, and people tolerate it
And
better.
probably for sensitive stomachs, I would assume.
Right,
So,
right,
yeah,
right.
yeah. That's good to know. Flintstone vitamins. I know there's a lot of cereal, just basic cereal, maybe high sugar, but also high iron. A lot of iron supplement cereal. Yeah. Carl said in 20 years I've never had anyone upset. Hey, that's
Yeah.
great too. That means we did our part. Most have been deferred before. I do encourage them to try again. So yeah. Thanks for coming in today. I say, hey, thanks for coming in and trying. We'll see you next time. Yeah, I need to appreciate the attitude. All great feedback. Thank you.
So when we do deferral detours, you want to write back?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Cool. Make sure to keep it private. Be cautious not to blame. It is not a stigma. Encouragement and gratitude, and always ask, what can I do to help?
Brenda had put, yeah, no coffee or caffeine before donating. I've been deferred for that very same reason. I'm a regular donor and I drink too much coffee. I'm aware. It's something I'm working on. But yeah, but that will artificially temporarily raise your blood pressure and pulse, almost guaranteed. So yeah, I've had that happen before. Next slide.
Next slide.
Here we go.
There we go. So we're going to talk about our care knowledge care statements, which we've talked about before, but we'll just do a little overview. We want to make sure we are incorporating our culture of care and communication skills when we are responding in our day-to-day discussions. We want to remember that when we are responding, we want to respond with a care-focused statement, a knowledge-focused statement, and then follow it up with a care-focused statement. Think of the sandwich as more of a stoplight as we navigate through this model for how to deal with detoured, our donors appropriate. Oh, sorry. Keep in mind, use the care statement as an opportunity to stop, listen, and proceed with care. Use our knowledge statement as a slow and cautious bridge to providing some facts, and then ending with a care statement to send them off with the best possible outcome as we could navigate that day. Some of the skills we want to keep in mind when creating our statements consist of reflective feelings. You're always saying something, communicating with positive purpose, repeating caring, thank you, no thank you, and responding with layers of communication, care and communication.
All those thank yous and no thank yous. They say that messes up AI, by the way. You know, if you talk to AI, I don't communicate with AI, but I really don't. I won't do it. But I've been reading that in the news that if you're too polite with AI, they can't handle it. So that's a specifically human thing. All those thank yous and pleases. Thank you for coming in today. Our friend Tamika, who's not on today, always likes to say, I hear what you're saying. I hear you say that this. Is one of those care knowledge care things to make sure that people, it's a very simple thing, but to make people feel heard. I hear what you're saying. I hear that you know, I am acknowledging your statement and your feelings while not always necessarily agreeing with it. I am acknowledging it. Fantastic. I think the next one's me. Okay, so our first detour. So speaking of detours, Long wait times. This is not always an issue. Wasn't an issue at the event I was at yesterday. But all of us have probably been to either a blood drive or another event, DMV, where there was a long wait time. And nobody loves long wait times. So just right out of the gate, this over here, and I know this is tiny, and you may not be able to see this is really tiny, but this is like the actual document. This over here is an example of what the staff, the phlebotomy staff, will use at a blood drive to predict donor wait times. And sometimes the decision, and we're not always involved in that decision, but sometimes the decision to accept walk-ins or to cut off walk-ins, or to promote PowerEds or not promote PowerEds is sometimes based very much due to this data. So they have information data sheets they can run in real time where they can see, this is how many staff are on the floor, this is how many beds there are, this is how many donors there are, this is how many health histories there are, and that's different. I've been to drives where there was only maybe 3 staff and 2 health histories and 3 beds. But then I've been to other drives where there was like 12 of everything, and we could really move people through. But this is kind of the information that they use on a minute-to-minute basis to make those decisions. For example, if there are 3 donors waiting and 4 staff at the drive, wait time, according to this document, estimated to be 22 minutes. That's an estimate. We don't know exactly what's going to happen, right? Some people come in and they've got that what's the questions? Rapid pass. They got rapid pass done and they've done it a million times and they're ready to go through and they bleed fast. Some people go through very quickly. Other people, like my dad, love to talk and answer everything and, in like great detail. And some people are just going to go through and take longer. So it's not an exact science, but this is helpful for us to know there actually is some data that they use and that the charge nurse, the phlebotomy staff will use at each of those events to determine whether or not, it's a good idea to, to speed it up or to slow it down or to take in walk-ins or what have you. With that in mind, what are some reasons that long wait times may occur at a drive? If you want to raise your hand or toss it in the chat. I'm assuming, and if it's not at a blood drive, we're talking about blood drives, but there may be other events you go to that there's long wait times. And I'll go again. I've been to events where the room wasn't ready.
Mhm.
And again, I'm not a finger pointer. I don't know who's necessarily fault, quote unquote, or whose responsibility that is at each particular event. But we've showed up at events where the staff was there early and the volunteers were there early, and the room wasn't ready. They just didn't, the room wasn't clear. It was set up for like a different event and had tables and chairs and things.
Let's see, Marilyn says donors who need to stay on the bed longer and walk-ins.
Yeah,
Rick,
yeah,
donor upgrades to a double red.
right, because it'll take longer.
Brenda, some equipment was left off the van.
Oh, yes, yeah, I've been to one of those.
The
Yeah,
despair.
yeah, right.
Becky said we had long wait times when we had them on base because it was during lunch and that's when they would show up without appointments.
Yeah,
Donors arriving more than 10 minutes ahead. Technology does not work correctly, and emergencies. Once when I was mid-history, a donor got up too quickly, fell and hit his head. All hands on deck. He left an
oh my
ambulance.
goodness, wow. Got up and hit his head. Oh my goodness. Karen Easton, thanks for sharing that. I hope that they were okay. I've never seen that. I've seen a couple times, count them on one hand, where people got a little woozy, lightheaded, getting up. But yeah, I don't think I've ever seen an ambulance come. So yeah, golly, I hope they were okay. And again, thank you all for sharing. I love it when we ask a good question and you get a bunch of very relevant feedback. Sometimes equipment stops working or someone's left at headquarters, no blood bags. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. It's a complicated thing. It's a big operation for sure. And again, I never want to point fingers, so I don't know exactly, who, what, when, but yeah, there are obviously lots of reasons. Sometimes these things come off without a hitch. And, I feel like 2 minutes before the hour, they're ready to start checking in. Terry Stewart had his hand up. Terry, did you have anything to add?
Yes, I was at a drive a few years ago where they had the supplies and had no blood bags in it. It caused a 2.5 hour delay.
Oh my goodness, yeah. And that's at 2.5 hours, that's a delay to where like,
Significant.
yeah, like where most people are just gonna take off and not stay. So yeah, wow, did they, Terry, did they end up continuing the event? Were they able to finish? Do you remember?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
The blood drag, they got the bags that were brought from Durham, North Carolina,
Right.
down to Lumberton, North Carolina.
Right,
Back
right,
home.
right. Okay, yeah, no, that's, Lori said, yeah, Karen et al., why it's important to monitor the canteen. Yeah,
Yeah.
different issue, but yeah, don't ever take your eyes off the canteen. Try and keep that in an open area whenever you can. All great feedback. In those wait times, we're still talking about the delays. Um, Important to acknowledge the donors, both verbally and non-verbally. With statements like, I see that you've been here a while. I'm so sorry for the wait. I know that you've been waiting. I like to walk over to people and say, thank you for being patient with us. Can I get you a water? Can I get you a juice? Can I get you anything? Thank you for staying. Hi, we'll be with you as soon as possible. Thanks for your patience. We'll be with you as soon as possible. Those acknowledgments, and we're going to talk about this in the next slide about how feedback we get when that doesn't happen. Some of the nonverbal things we get: turn your posture, face the person, really interact, make eye contact, and smile. Look up from the computer, acknowledge, listen. Which doesn't always mean that, like I said, doesn't mean that we're agreeing with everything somebody says. Some people get upset about things that are kind of specific for them and to them that day. But it's important to listen and make sure everyone's heard and to acknowledge, thank you guys so much. I have been at ones where delays and they really want to know from us. You and I don't know. We don't know when the flood drive is going to start. We don't know when it's going to be caught back up. But we are frequently that point of contact where we have to be the in between. You have to say, yeah, let me check. Thank you guys for waiting. Let me go check and see where we are on that. I am hopeful that we will get this thing, started here in the next few minutes. If you can't stay, I certainly understand. But yeah, but do try and be both verbal and nonverbal in your communication there to make sure that they sound heard. Ask if they need something to drink. I always give them an out with another drive if they're going to get upset. Yeah, there is, and that's we don't always have the ability to make the appointment for them. It depends on what tech you have with Book Now and stuff. But you anybody anywhere with an internet enabled device can look up, donate Red Cross Blood, redcrossblood.org, type in a zip code and find a nearby drive. Sometimes going on, I've had drive situations where we had two going on in the same city, 2 miles apart, roughly at the same time. So there are other opportunities. Thank you for that. So in talking about how to support donors during long wait times, here's some feedback. These are actual statements. So all the donors, just like us in the volunteerism world, get the surveys. The donors get the surveys. So if you've ever donated with us, you get a survey about your phlebotomy experience and how I'm making up this name. How was Annie courteous when she was taking your vitals? Was Bill courteous and respectful, when taking your blood? The donors get feedback. Here's some actual feedback that the Red Cross has received from donors related to long wait times, actual statements. No one even said hello. Gosh, these are hard to read. No one noticed that I was there, so after an hour and a half, I left. I doubt they even knew I had been there. They walked by me a dozen times, never once made eye contact. It's like it was intentional. Had I done something wrong? ? What a terrible feeling to feel. I wish they had just given me an update. Again, even if we don't know exactly, to stay in communication with everybody. It was like I was invisible. Gosh, these are hard to read. These are actual statements from donors. Hopefully nowhere in our area, but this was, from the national team. These were statements that they received from blood donors, who were obviously checked in, officially checked in at the drive, but no one followed up with them, and they in many cases left, kind of gave up on us. So what a terrible feeling. Ensure that you make it a priority to greet each donor as they walk in and as they leave and in between. Be intentional. We are the first face that the donor sees, frequently the last one that they see. We're the fun folks. We're the ones that are not sticking needles into their arms and squeezing and poking them. So there is an opportunity to be, to be the fun, pleasant team on either side of it. So please always keep that in mind. And I think this one's yours.
So Book Now is a great tool that you can utilize to ensure we capture as many donors as our donations as possible. When donors are not able to wait additional time, encourage them to use Book Now on the spot to rebook their appointment for later that day or that week. So we're seeing a lot of people use Book Now, or donors use Book Now, and with the A1C testing. If someone comes in and doesn't want to participate, use Book Now and get them on the books for the next month once the A1C testing is not happening, so or not available. So that's an example of how to use Book Now. I know as PDAs, we are familiar with Book Now. So if you need any additional training or any information on Book Now, just let your rep know and we can send that to you.
Okay, yeah. Big one. Consolidated physical findings and non-invasive hemoglobin. This is that sounds fancier than it needs to be. This is related to some of the new processes that have been put into place just this year. So this was something introduced late 2024 and was I think everywhere by the spring of 2025, related to the way that donors are screened when they come in. This is mostly related to if you've had it done or seen it, instead of the swab and the finger prick and the thermometer in your mouth, there's some new technology. They call it the sleeve or the cuff, where you can enter your finger in, gives it a gentle squeeze, and the staff can take several vitals, including that iron level, hemoglobin level, without the finger prick. It has been received mostly positive, and we'll talk about that in more detail in a second. But there's an automated system for pulse rate. Now, again, some folks still, if they can't get it right, we'll take a pulse, the old-fashioned way, the tried and true way. But there's an automated system for getting a pulse rate. There's no finger stick for most donors. That was always my least favorite part of the experience, was that violent, quick prick on the finger. I hated it. Then you had to have a Band-Aid on the tip of your finger the rest of the day. There's an infrared thermometer. Those got really big during COVID. So instead of the thermometer and the probe cover and everything else, they can just kind of hover on your forehead or your temple. This all reduces the number of supplies needed, which means that there's less gauze, less bandages, less alcohol preps, less probe covers, less things to forget, right? That make the drive not start on time, less equipment to use overall. So a reduction of supplies, and the technology does increase the efficiency for processing donors in most cases. Here's two encouraging stats. Donor satisfaction with wait times has increased 5.5, that's no small amount, 5.5%. Since this was put into place, meaning that they feel that the wait time to get through the screening has reduced, not a huge amount, but a substantial amount. Since this started, time spent on physical exams has decreased by 1.45 minutes average per donor, which is incredible. And I found out some things last night that related to the reading materials, where they might be able to make that reduction even bigger. Apparently there's a new option. Instead of the printed reading materials, apparently there's going to be a screen-based option for that, where you can scroll and sign, which is coming very soon. It's brand new information. So new, it's not even in in this presentation. But yeah, but those are both encouraging things. Now, in that, we've also learned that about 24% of all people, that's about 1 in every 4, will resist change, even if it's positive change, meaning even if they know it's positive. Their favorite restaurant is opening earlier. There's more Doritos in this bag than there used to be. Positive changes, and 1 out of 4 people will still be resistant. And that's important to acknowledge. And I tend to be kind of a traditionalist myself. So I sometimes have that, that instinctive old guy angry thing. Why did this change? Why did this website change? Now I can't find anything. Even if, I later on acknowledge that it's a positive change. So while these changes with the screening and the phlebotomy have been widely accepted, maybe not by everybody, because some folks will, this isn't a one size fits all. Some folks will resist even positive change. That being said, the trajectory for the first 8-9 months of 2025 seems to be that these things are all having a positive effect. But if people get upset about it, and they might, here are some statements to be prepared for. We don't always have answers for all these, but here's some things that 1 out of 4 may bring up. Since the Red Cross began using these devices to measure my vitals, my readings have been very different. That's very possible. These are still being studied. There is data being collected from all sides to see, what is best. But it's true, a traditional blood pressure cuff, a traditional, thermometer on your tongue might be a different reading. That prick on your finger might be a different reading. We're hoping that the new technology is better. We're hoping that it's more accurate, but it might be different. And that's something that we want to acknowledge. So the Red Cross is using new technology. We hope it's better technology, but they're using new technology, might get different readings. Why did the Red Cross change things again? The simple answer is they're trying to make it better, right? So the Red Cross Blood Services nationally as a whole is trying to use new findings to make things faster, more efficient, quote unquote, better, for all the donors. It will take some time to see, just like the A1C testing, right? It'll take time to see if that is as effective as we hope it is. But that's the reason we're honestly trying to make it a better experience for all the donors. I should be able to request my vitals be taken using the previously used devices, such as finger stick thermometer, blood pressure cuff. That's valid. There might be someone that would rather, who gets deferred, and they said, if I only could get the finger prick back, I wouldn't be deferred. These are things that are all going to be taken into consideration. Again, the system currently, right now, at nearly every drive, is going to be that non-invasive cuff. But again, if we find that it's not, if the organization finds that it's not working out like we thought, I almost knocked my hat off there. I got so excited. They will certainly take that under advisement, as we say, and we do welcome the feedback. Last one, I've been donating platelets for 34 years. These are real statements. I donated 24 times per year and have been deferred 3 times in the last 4 weeks. Something doesn't add up. That's a legitimate concern. Maybe not one that you and I and Krista can resolve right there at a blood drive. But 1-800-RED Cross, option 2, donor services hotline, and they're open 9 to 5, 9 to 6, Monday through Friday. Great resource to point people to. There are a lot of things that that we can't necessarily get into with donors related to their specific experience and vitals and health history and that kind of thing. But yeah, do encourage folks to call that hotline if they have follow-up questions, or if it's something, it might be something that a phlebotomy staff or a charge, can answer for them. But if not, I promise you the Red Cross does welcome that feedback at every level. So yeah, that's 1-800-RED Cross. Option 2, can get them in touch with someone in donor services that can talk specifically about there. So again, be prepared for these. We don't, there's not necessarily 100% accurate, answers to all these, but we can control how we respond and make sure that we're listening and, and validating. Yeah, that I agree. That does sound, unusual. I hope we can get this resolved for you. Here's a number to call. I think this is you. Is this you?
Yeah.
This is you.
So deferrals during change, here are 3 statements. I'm sorry to hear things are different since we upgraded to the new machines. Have you asked the staff for additional information on how to repair or prepare for success using the new equipment? The way the hemoglobin is measured is different. And then I'd be happy to grab an experienced staff member to talk with you about what can be done for better success at your next appointment. So these are all things that you can say and address if someone is being deferred.
Mhm.
Then we also have, maintaining trust through deferral. So I know you are incredibly committed and we appreciate you being persistent. Deferrals are being monitored closely. You can request for a different device to be used or request for the charge to perform the second check just to minimize any errors. And then thank you for your support through this process.
And they frequently will do a second check, sometimes a second check with a second staff member to get a second opinion on those. I see those happen all the time. Not always, even without being asked. So, yeah, great thing to have. Still you. It's still you.
Still me?
Yeah, it's still you. 21.
Oh, gosh.
Phlebotomy
Wow, we're
complications.
moving
We'll do it
fast.
together. I know.
All
It's a big
right.
slide deck.
So phlebotomy complications are one of the hardest deferrals for the donors. Keep in mind when facing this type of detour to be extra mindful of the facts. This donor completed our rapid pass, arrived for donation, possibly waiting to be seen, and passed all physical exams and question review. They were well on their way to crossing the finish line. Right. It is hard to help donors navigate deferral from the phlebotomy area, as these donors have typically already experienced a vein puncture and possibly a nearly completed unit. When you receive the donor in the canteen, make sure to be ready to listen before proceeding. Gather the following information before forming your statements when encouraging the donor to communicate their emotions. So why was the donor deferred? What they think happened, and what can you do to diffuse the situation. Don't be afraid to ask follow-up questions to show the donors we are supportive and care. So how are you feeling now? Is there pain? Is there anything I can do to help? Be mindful when developing your responses to not put blame on the collection staff, even if you think they are at fault. If you notice a pattern in deferrals from a particular staff member, do not address the situation with the donors or other volunteers. Bring information only to the supervisor, a charge, an engagement representative, or a team supervisor, so they can investigate or monitor the staff to ensure the appropriate action can be taken for a better success rate.
Right. And these are, and just to clarify, these are not necessarily all deferral situations prior to this. Is, the vein was slippery, they couldn't get it, it popped out, they were unable to complete, which is also sometimes more discouraging for folks because they went through all the unpleasantries, if you will, and still weren't able to donate. But if they want to discuss that afterwards, and and you're there to listen, and we hope you are, please do be receptive to that without, as I said before, without pointing fingers. Please do be prepared to listen to those. And those can be discouraging. You got stuck here, you got stuck here, you got stuck here, and they just couldn't, for whatever reason, they couldn't get it to go that day. Certainly can be emotional for a lot of the donors. So those are some of the things that can go wrong. I want to emphasize, in case you're new to our team, frequently these events all go off completely smoothly, without a hitch, and everybody donates, and it's a wonderful day. But planning for some of those things that can go wrong related to the deferrals and the long wait times and what have you. I love this slide. My friend Rebecca did this slide for us with these blood drops with their hard hats. It's adorable. Planning for detours. One, waste no time. We like our team to try to arrive 15 plus minutes early. I personally try and get there even earlier than that if I can. 15 plus minutes early, assist as appropriate to make sure we are ready to start the drive on time. Obviously, there's things our team doesn't touch related to heavy equipment and blood bags and needles and that sort of thing. But if you are there a few minutes early, and we hope that you are for the blood drive, and you were able to assist with moving around a couple chairs and, making sure the laptop is charged and, you have the papers you need and the doors are accessible. And I like to find out where the bathrooms are because someone's going to ask me, 5 minutes into it. If you are there and you can help with some of those little things in the minutes coming up to the drive, better chance that we can start on time. Coordinate with the staff to make a plan for walk-ins. I know some phlebotomy staff that are just dead set against walk-ins as a concept, and they don't like it, and they like to stick to the schedule no matter what. And I'm sure they have their own reasons for that. I tend to be the opposite, which is like, yeah, come on in. Let's see. Do you have time to wait? Let me see if we can get you in. But do coordinate with the staff and find out where you are on that. Sometimes there's very good reasons why they're not doing walk-ins. One of our colleagues earlier mentioned about we don't have enough bags. We don't have enough equipment. Like, we're kind of hoping that not all these people come because we might get into trouble for some reason, beyond, what's obvious. So do coordinate a staff plan with the staff for walk-ins. Ask about it early to see where we stand on that. Gently promote and encourage the rapid pass option for anyone who is willing to do it. It really does save time. Not just for us and not just for the staff, but for the donors and the donors coming in behind those donors, right? So the rapid pass for this donor saves time for the donor coming in an hour from now. Better chance of staying on schedule. So do encourage that. Granted, we know some people. I personally know some people who are very much against it, don't want to do it, and that's okay too. But do gently encourage it. Make it make it an easy option. Talk it up if you can about how easy it is. It's the same questions they're going to get in the back, but if they have a device and they can yes, no, 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 yes, no with their index finger, they probably will save time, especially if they're regular donors and do this frequently. Finally, encourage donors to check for any open appointments using the website or blood donor app if deferred. So if it didn't work out for whatever reason and they couldn't do it, do encourage them to try again. Hey, thanks for trying. Here's some other options coming up nearby. There might be one tomorrow or the next day in the same general zip code where they can try again. So yeah, do be a good steward of everyone's time. Support donation success. Don't forget, we have those hand warmers available at nearly all fixed site drives and several bus drives and mobile drives. They have those hand warmers, so you can ask about that too. A lot of the ones in my area, the staff prefer to handle that, and they keep those back in screening, and that's fine too. But I've talked to volunteers in other parts of the country where they have them at check-in and stuff. So
Something to ask.
yeah, exactly. Something to ask and check in. Do we have hand warmers? Because hey, I'm sitting here ready for check-in. I can get one or two of these things ready to go, ready to pop in case they're needed. And then establish trust in the staff. If donors express the need to use a specific arm, as they frequently will, sometimes with us, like I really need here, use that care, knowledge, care. We aren't going to make that decision, obviously, but yeah, thanks for sharing that with me. They prefer to sit on this side. They have a preference related to the procedure. Yeah, thanks for that. Let me, I always tell them, share that with the screening staff in the back, but I will mention that to them as well. Staff will be sure to evaluate both arms, of course, and decide what's best. They do In almost every case, they'll say, which arm do you prefer to squeeze with? You know, which side would you rather be on? Ultimately, it's going to be a question of which vein gets us the best success. But if someone expresses that to you, yeah, share that. Hey team, this is Phyllis. She's a 3:30, whole blood appointment, and she would really prefer to have her left arm drawn. But y'all discuss, acknowledge those feelings to be ready when they come in, and that right on time. It's 12:17. We estimated 50 minutes. We're doing good, and that is the end of the formal slide deck. We would love to take some questions, if anyone has any, and I think we have some stuff in the chat too. Do you want to share?
So Joel and Amy says, or hey, Amy, find out the zip code for donors where you are at the donation site.
Yes.
For doing the Rapid Pass. When they come
Yes.
in.
Yeah.
And then
I forget to do that, and then I'm like, oh, I don't know. What county is this? Yeah.
Jennifer says, I suggest post the zip code for people at the site for ease of use. Yes.
Excellent idea. Excellent idea. Thank you for that.
I have mentioned on several surveys that when the bus is used, please put a sign on the bus that donors have to come inside for check-in and then return to the bus.
Yeah.
Donors get aggravated, especially in the rain or heat, when they have to run back and forth from the bus to the building.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's valid. A lot of that has to do with kind of the geography of the facility. But I've definitely been in that exact same situation where the bus was like around a corner,
Yeah.
and it wasn't even within eye line, and it was difficult to coordinate, and I hate that. That is reality. Sometimes that is bus drives. But yeah, it is a sign, something formal, somewhere we can sit or be positioned where we can get folks screened, have a comfortable place for them to sit and still be able to see the bus, oh, they're ready for you on the bus, and there it is. Yeah, that's great.
Lori says it's usually at the top of the appointment sheet. So I am assuming this is the zip code.
Oh, is that what? Yeah, I hadn't
Yes.
even thought of that. Okay.
Perfect.
I hadn't even thought of that. I'm always looking it up on my phone, where are we again? Let me see here. Thank you for that. By the way, about zip codes, we found this out too. As long as it's close, as long as the zip code you're in is in a nearby, as long as the zip code you enter is a nearby zip code with the same laws as the real one, it'll still take it, because the zip code question frequently has to do with the policies and regulations in that area. So as long as you're pretty close, it'll still take it.
So Leanna says, as a brand new BDA, what should I become extremely familiar with prior to my first drive?
Ooh, that's an
That's a good
excellent
one.
question.
Yeah.
And Leanna, it's so good to have you. Welcome to the team. Gosh, if you could only pick one thing, what's the main thing? Show up on time and
Yeah.
smile and be present. That'd be the first one, I think. I mean, there's a lot of little technical stuff that you
Yeah.
learn along the way, but I think if you're there in place on time with a great attitude, before it starts, I think that's,
Everything
forgive me
comes
for speaking
together.
that turn. I think that's 73% of the thing.
Yeah, everything comes together if you just come in there with a great attitude. Does any other BDAs on the call have a suggestion?
Yeah, what's
you know,
the main thing for a first timer?
You can raise your hand or put it in the chat.
Those training videos are great, and hopefully you've received those. They have some great videos related to kind of the interface and what it looks like on our side, so you can be prepared. Again, you'll kind of learn it by doing it, but to be prepared for what the check-in system looks like. Not all blood drives. As Marilyn mentioned, some of these bus drives we do old-fashioned paper and walkie-talkies, which is kind of cool too. But yeah, to kind of be prepared for what that interface looks like by watching those training videos. That'd be another one. Rubette said, looking at the blood drive schedule, that is helpful. They'll usually give you a piece of paper with a schedule of what to expect. it's not, it's not the final word because we also live in a world where people can change appointments and make appointments online through the app in real time, even after the drive is started. So it may not, it may not stick, but yeah, having a look at that to know this is how many people and this is about how many, this is who's coming in at 2 o'clock and this is who's coming in at 3 o'clock. That can be helpful too, so you can anticipate.
We have some suggestions in the
Jamie.
chat.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
Oh,
Krista.
is that Andrea? Hi, Andrea.
It is Andrea. I was gonna suggest
Andrea, I didn't know you
also-
were here. Thanks for being here.
I am. I'm listening in and being real quiet.
Yeah.
I wanted to say another thing that I'd like my BDAs to know is my name and contact information in case they have any difficulties at the drive.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we were
the-
talking about
the proper
before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Send me a quick
Right.
text. Yeah. If something gets weird or you can't find your way in, send me a quick text.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can get you in. Yeah, that's hopefully our team is doing a good job of that. I know that comes up sometime, but hopefully if you're on this call, hopefully you know who your local rep is. Might be me,
Might be me.
Krista, might be Andrew, might be Lori, but hopefully you have the name, email address, number, telephone number of your local rep, in case in case something does get weird, right at the start of a drive. Thank you for that, Andrea.
So more suggestions, find out who the supervisor is.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
important. Have staff show you how to check in donors on the laptop.
Yeah. If you're a first timer, share that, I started as a volunteer and it did sort of unofficially for a while, but I had to do that my first time. Like, oh, I've been to lots of blood drives, but this is my first time doing this part of it. I've always been the lining up the juice box guy. This is my first time doing this piece. So yeah, share that. And again, no one's going to be upset with you. Most people, most of the staff, they're happy to see us. They're glad we're there to support. So they can certainly take a couple minutes to show you if it's your first time actually handling it. Yeah, that's another excellent suggestion. Yeah, share that hey, I'm a first timer. Can I practice doing a scan real quick to make sure I got it?
Keep proper attitude for questions you don't have the answer to. Try
Yeah.
not to say, I don't know. Find the charge or the supervisor on staff and see if they know the question or answer if you don't. And yeah, be polite. Think about those care, knowledge, care statements while you're answering these questions. And then introduce yourself to the charge nurse and set up the canteen.
Mhm.
Let's see. A listing of upcoming blood drives for the county the person is donating will be helpful. I found that the blood donor location may not have quality internet services available.
Yeah.
Completing the rapid pass as donors arrive at the site may not be available if internet services is not available. This is so true.
Karen, that's an excellent
Yeah.
example. Several years ago, I was in a beautiful church basement, an old construction brick building, hardwood floors in Richmond County, North Carolina. And it was down deep, you had to go down several stairs to get there. Amazing, beautiful space. But I mean, when you talk about no bars, yeah, there were no bars and and the staff were getting frustrated too, because yeah, we could not get a rapid pass done in that space.
And make sure you know the Wi-Fi password.
Yeah.
If it's not.
There's typically a sponsor. Yeah, a lot of these buildings, most of these buildings will have some kind of Wi-Fi. So there's frequently a sponsor that can get us access to that.
We have check appointment sheet for Power Red and potential Power Red.
Yeah.
And make sure to try to upsell up to Power Red if you can.
Yeah. Assuming that there's a Power Red machine in space. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
And there is a training called donor optimization that you can take if you want to learn more.
Yeah.
Before my first time, I went and gave blood a week before at the blood center, so I was familiar with how things worked at that center. That's a great idea.
Christy, that is wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for your donation and your volunteerism. And that's a great idea. Obviously, we couldn't push that for all of our volunteers, but yeah, what a great idea to say, oh, before I started working there, I went to check it out, so I knew what to expect. These are all absolutely fantastic. We're not leaving. I am going to stop the recording, and I noticed a couple people said they had to go, so I
Jamie
did
and
want to say,
Krista, can I
Yes.
get to one question that was overlooked?
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I
gentleman
was just
asked-
going to say, if you have to go, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
But if you
Yeah,
want to
we-
stay, we're going to stay on and take a couple more questions, including this one from our good friend Lori right now. Thanks you all.
Okay. It was somebody else that asked, what does Red Cross do with a clotted incomplete full donation other organizations send to test labs for research, which is positive? I think we still do that, but I'm not sure. Maybe you guys know.